they're safe. They've got a massive game, cup game. But for me, if I'm a player, if I'm Troy Deeney, Delafeu, Craig Cathcart, Holebas, I want to play week in, week out.
What about Manchester City? Of course, they have got the game against Schalke coming up, but they are top of the table in the Premier League. They want to win it all. They've got the capability to win it all. Recent times, though, they've not been playing so great, have they?
They've been finding a way at times. They've looked like they're hitting top form, and then they'll have a little stutter, but they're picking up points, Tom, no matter what way. Whether they play well, they pick them up. Whether they play poorly, they find a way. So it really is. It looks for me, and I think the key game, definitely, I've said it all along, was the time that they beat Liverpool at home, and ever since then they've just kicked on, and like you said, a points guzzling machine.
Kevin De Bruyne is out today, injured last week. He's had such a hit-and-miss season with form and injury and whatnot. Riyad Mahrez, the man who comes in to replace him, he has been, I think it's fair to say, much criticised across this season, but in recent weeks, maybe it's just because he's been playing, he has shown a little glimmer of form. Well, he has been hit and miss as well, and never get a better opportunity with De Bruyne out to really forge on. But, Sané's been the one that's really probably covered for De Bruyne more than Riyad Mahrez, but obviously he's got an opportunity, and like you said, you do need games to really coming on and on for 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here. It doesn't help. So he's got a great opportunity to really stake a claim for these final 9 games, and obviously the Champions League, the big games in that. Let's hear from the two managers ahead of kick-off, Pep Guardiola of Manchester City and Watford's Javi Gracia.
It's incredible what he has done. What they have done, one of the toughest games we had. In the last 9 games left, they have everything, physicality, quality 1 against 1 with Alufeo, with Gray, with Pereira. They're strong in the air with Deeney, with the second balls. Incredible, well organized. The manager is incredible, Javi Garcia. What he has done with his staff this season so far, he achieved a lot of points, many points, and they did it incredibly well. So, but it's the last game before 21 days without Premier League, before the international break, and of course everything is closed in terms of few games to the end of the Premier League, and of course at home it's massive, important for us to take our points.
I think we are in a good moment, but not only for the results. I think it's important the attitude, the atmosphere we have in the team during all the season, with good or bad results. I think for the next games, when there are only 9 games left, I think it's a good moment. All the players are available with the confidence they need to play like they can do.
Well, the confidence to play like they can do, it's all well enough saying that, but if you're going to change your team entirely, what does it do for confidence? What about some of these players, Steve, that have come in? Do you think any of them think they're playing for a potential FA Cup quarter-final place, or do they know their subs?
I think they know their subs. You only have to look at the team selection in the last 5 or 6 games that has brought them decent success. So they're on here, they're thrown to the Lions as such, and you look at that team and you would like to make a case for it, but the only way I can see it is if Ben Foster produces one of the performances of the season, which he has done in a few times this season. So, I'd have to look at it. It'll be a rearguard action, and maybe with Andre Gray's over the top. That's the only thing that you can say. Players that haven't played really regularly, Kiko, Tom Cleverley, success. It's very hard to come in at any team in the Premier League, but certainly not a team as good as Man City.
We've spoken a lot about Watford in these opening exchanges, and obviously that's because of the team news we've been given. But if we step away from this match and look at the table as is, they find themselves, Man City, Steve, a point ahead of Liverpool at the top of the table, having played the same amount of games for the first time in a long time. They lead them in that scenario. And listening to Pep Guardiola there, and of course in his extended press conference as well, it is not something that's fazed him at all. It's almost as if it's his and Man City's natural state to be top.
Yeah, I think so. That's the confidence he alludes with, winning all over Europe. He's got good players to come in and replace. We were talking about Riyad Mahrez, who hasn't played as much, but you still look at that bench that they've got: Laporte, Sané, Jesus, Phil Foden. Danilo. They have got a quality squad. So that gives you confidence when you've got that sort of backup.
Right, big game on the horizon here to end what's already been an action-packed Saturday in the Premier League between Manchester City and Watford. City have earned 42 of the 45 points available to them at home this season, losing only to Crystal Palace in that shocker in December. Watford will take heart from that, but they don't have a very good record against Manchester City. Not many teams do. City have never lost a Premier League game against Watford. 7 wins and 2 draws in that time. The aggregate score during their time in the Premier League together is 22-3 in favour of Manchester City. So it's a big task for the Hornets' second string, but you just never know in the Premier League. Kickoff is next. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Southampton struggling down the bottom. We're joined by a survivor of their great escape team in 1999, Francis Bernali. Former Bluebirds defender Danny Gabidon joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. 1 chance, 1 goal, number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
Go to talksport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click talksport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at talksport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah, who scores! Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Watford from the Etihad Stadium. I'm your host Tom Rennie. Alongside me is the former West Ham and City captain Steve Lomas. This is Premier League Live. Pep Guardiola's team go into this weekend top of the table, having played the same amount of games as Liverpool for the first time in a long time. It's not something that phases the champions. After all, it is their manager, Pep Guardiola's natural state. However, they have had some unpredictable stumbles this season, and a mini-injury crisis has maybe opened the door for today's opponents if they play to their strengths. The City boss was understandably wary when he spoke of Watford this week, despite the champions winning their last 5 in a row. Why is that? Well, Watford have won 3 and 4 and are FA Cup quarter finalists. They have a big game against Crystal Palace next week and a spot in the league of 7th up for grabs. That will put the Hornets in Europe for the first time since the 80s. That will be such an incredible achievement for Watford. So plenty to play for. though no one, it seems, has told Javi Gracia, who has changed the majority of his team today from last week. 7 changes from the side who beat Leicester. Here's the starting 11 today. Ben Foster is in goal, former Manchester United man, of course. Across the back line, left to right, is Adam Messina, Christian Cavaselli, Miguel Britos and Daryl Janmaat. Midfield, that brilliant pairing, physical and skillful, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Etienne Capoue, who captains the side. Kiko Femenia and Tom Cleverley will be the attacking, floating winger / attacking midfielders. And then Isaac's success is with Andre Gray up front. Benches Gomez, Delafeu, Dini, Sema, Cathcart, Kina and Holebas. For Man City, they make 2 changes from last week. Mahrez and company come in for Stones and De Bruyne. It's Ederson in goal. Back 4 of Alexander Zinchenko, Nicolas Otamendi, Vincent Kompany, who captains the side, and Kyle Walker. Gundogan in midfield. Fernandinho continues to be out. David Silva, Bernardo Silva alongside him. Aguero through the centre, who wasn't picked this week in the Argentina national team squad. Unbelievable that they cannot pick him and Higuain. That's a whole other thing for another day. Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez complete the 11. Benches Muric, Danilo, Laporte, Delph, Sane, Jesus and young Phil Foden. A referee for this game has just got us underway, Paul Tierney. Man City already push Watford all the way back and have the ball at feet in Watford territory, Steve.
Well, I just think Watford adopted the position, and they know they're going to be doing this a lot, sitting deep, denying space in behind, and with a bank of 5 in front of the back 4, and trying to make it as difficult as possible for Man City to pick a way through.
Ball is with Kyle Walker, midway inside the Watford half, back towards Nicolas Otamendi. Otamendi looks cross-field, ball's intercepted there by Messina, but breaks back to Kyle Walker. Riyad Mahrez running in field, looks for 2 diagonal runners down the right channel. Good interception there by Miguel Britos, who's been a starter for much of his time at Vicarage Road, but finds himself usually behind Cathcart and Cavaselli these days. Somewhat a liability at times at the heart of that Watford defence. City wearing sky blue shirts, white shorts and navy socks. They kick from left to right in this first half. Watford in their away strip, green shirts, shorts and socks. Success for Watford, adjudged to have fouled Riyad Mahrez there, just as the Hornets, if they had won it back, they maybe could have released Andre Gray off the shoulder of the last defender, and he's very good in that position.
Well, certainly when there's grass in behind Tom, he's got the pace that can frighten anybody, but it's just like you say, it's so key that when Watford...
Oh, shot from Otamendi here, snap effort from distance is held by Ben Foster.
Yeah, and I think Ben Foster will be delighted if that's the only time Man City shoot from 35 yards out, but I'm sure he is going to be worked, and we were just speaking beforehand, he'll need to probably have 4 arms on today, because I think he's going to get well worked, because looking at this Watford team, they're just going to sit back like so many teams do when they come to Man City and try and soak it up.
Thus far, that is the story of the piece. Ball is with Raheem Sterling, 10 yards over the halfway line, left hand side, looks infield to David Silva, return to Raheem Sterling, over the top. Sterling has tried to lob Ben Foster, he's actually lobbed it behind him over his own shoulder as Foster came out and gathers.
Well, I don't like him here on this left hand side, but he passes it inside to David Silva and goes for the return, runs in behind and tries to, on the volley with the outside of his right foot, flick it over Ben Foster, but just gets the connection all wrong, and the Watford number 1 was able to easily collect.
Here's Daryl Janmaat at the other end for Watford. Early ball towards the runner, Doucouré. Intercepted by a trio of City players before it's worked out to Raheem Sterling on the left, into David Silva over the halfway line. Forward to Sterling again. Chops in field and finds Gundogan. Then Zinchenko will look infield to Vincent Kompany in the centre circle. Possession stats for the opening 3 minutes, 90% to 10%. Just to let you know, I've never seen it before. Here's Bernardo Silva on the right hand side. Portuguese international looks infield and finds Kyle Walker. Looks for Gundogan, who's done well. Delicate footwork from Gundogan. Right to Riyad Mahrez. Running at Messina. Back towards Bernardo Silva. Riyad Mahrez again. Good challenge by Messina. Once then twice. Looks to bring Watford up the field. And as is often the way with Man City sides, they will foul you if you try to break. And Walker has brought Messina down.
Yeah, and they seem to get away with it. They don't get as many bookings as normal. You know, you look at people like Bernardo Silva, they don't look intimidating, but I think it is a ploy to foul them. It's good professionalism from a sense from Man City. But I'm just looking at them with them two wide players, Riyad Mahrez and Sterling. They both love to come inside. They're on the opposite foot. And I think if I'm a fullback, whenever I played fullback and you had two speedy players, you were delighted they come inside. What you hated was them facing you up and running you down the outside, because you knew it would be very tough to stay with them. But obviously Pep likes them as inverted wingers. But for me, I think certainly Sterling looks better on the right.
Still on this near side is Riyad Mahrez with Sterling on the far. Riyad Mahrez, of course, a Premier League winner in that position with Leicester City a couple of years ago. Fantastic season he had. Here he is now, winning the ball high up the field for City. Tries to flick on towards Bernardo Silva. Good defensive work by Miguel Britos. Into Foster as well. Calm defending from the Watford man.
And one thing that Ben Foster is really good at, great with the ball at his feet. Picks a lovely pass out to Success. And
yeah, really lovely that he's been fouled by Kyle Walker. Second foul in 5 minutes for Kyle Walker, and that should surely be our first yellow card of the match for Kyle Walker. 2 clear professional fouls.
Yeah, it was a lovely dink pass in. Success does well, takes it on his chest and shows good strength, turns Kyle Walker, and in a promising position Kyle Walker just takes him out. And I have to agree with you, Tom, that for me, no matter how early it is, has to be, it's an absolute blatant yellow card.
Paul Tierney having a word with Kyle Walker and has now brandished our first yellow card of the match. As you were saying, Steve, not often Guardiola teams are punished for that, but it's a noticeable and obvious tactic they use. So that's going to be tricky now for Kyle Walker on this side. 85 minutes to play on a yellow card. Messina on the halfway line, infield to Capu's done well. Nice footwork from Capu, trying to edge Watford forward. He's run into the challenge of Kyle Walker.
Yeah, I think it certainly is, and Kyle Walker of the past has been known to get aggravated easily. He had another little bite at Success there, and if they can get it to him, you know, he looks a big strong boy. If they can get running at him, they could maybe draw another foul, and it would be a dilemma for the referee.
6 minutes gone here. Manchester City 0, Watford 0 on Premier League Live. The end of a very dramatic day in the Premier League. Certainly down the bottom of the table. Everyone won. Very strange day in the Premier League. That's where we're getting to. The business end, where you just can't predict results anymore. Which is why this one is very interesting indeed. We've seen City at times this season just come out of the traps and blitz teams in the opening 7-8 minutes. Chelsea here most notably. Not been the story so far.
I think that'll be key, Tom. Watford will want to try and get that 20-minute mark, 0-0, and that'll be a first stage ticked off. And just try and, even if Man City score, I think they'll just try and hang in the game as long as possible. And like you said, they'll probably bring the likes of Troy Deeney and Deulofeu on for the last 20 minutes, which I'm in agreement with you, I do find it bizarre when you're resting players.
If you're resting players, leave them at home. If I want to rest, I don't go to work. As the ball is chipped up to Aguero, around the corner for Sterling. Good defensive work by Christian Cabaselli. Then Gray wants a foul, not given by the referee. Forward to Raheem Sterling, edge of the area, back to goal. 2 players outside, turns infield, dummy away from the challenge. Nutmeg onto Corey, release to Gundogan, right to Mahrez. Mahrez ball, lovely too. David Silva should have scored. Header from close range. It just flicks off that newly grown fringe and goes just wide.
Yeah, it was a superb ball from Riyad Mahrez. Cuts inside on his left foot and just feeds it in, just bends it in towards the goal, and it's a great run from David Silva. Gets ahead of Ben Foster, and like you said, he should have scored 100%. He gets there before, just needs to find the target. I think he was half thinking about going it with his hand initially, but he gets there with his head, and when he gets purpose on it, he just has to head it forward, and it's a goal.
Brilliant play by Manchester City. Working the ball right to left, looking to create that opportunity. David Silva on the end of it. 6 Premier League goals this season for him. This is 22nd start in the competition. One of the greats of the club. Couldn't score that time from close range. 8.5 minutes gone here. Brilliant play from Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez from left to right. In fact, we're just getting a replay on the monitors here, and it may have flicked off his fingers as it went wide. You mentioned he looked like he was going with his hands.
He's not normally a person that likes to run without the ball, but he makes a great run from midfield, and he's well picked out by Riyad Mahrez, and I think he half thinks it's too far in front of him. He looks like he's thinking, shall I go with my hands? But he does get ahead on it, and when he gets the purpose, if he just goes and concentrates.
And Watford coming forward here, Janmaat down the right hand side into Andre Gray in the penalty area, cuts it back towards Daryl Janmaat, deflects off a City leg, and he's picked up by Ederson, who comes out to smother that attack as Watford just changed the pace there for a second.
Yeah, very good play from Daryl Janmaat, and I think down this left-hand City with Zinchenko and Otamendi, it is an area where it can be exploited, and that's where Andre Gray made a lovely run in behind and caused all sorts of panic. Maybe that is an area that Watford can exploit.
Nice bit of pace there from Daryl Janmaat, charging down the right-hand side, and at times in these games it's almost as if some City players don't quite expect to do any defending, and that's where you can catch them out.
Yeah, and I think you look at people like Otamendi, he has improved, but he has got times where he does switch off and lacks concentration.
It's good concentration there by Tom Cleverley, watching the run of Riyad Mahrez, who got away from Messina, but Success has given a poor ball back towards Tom Cleverley, and City are back on the ball again with 10 minutes gone. Yeah,
and that's where it's key. If he is going to play it inside, he's got to make sure he finds a Watford player, or he's better just playing it forward. I think Gray had made another great run in behind.
Zinchenko from the left-hand side, a bit of space and crossed it. Intercepted by Cabaselli. Foster may well have got there from the cross, but the defender took no risks.
Yeah, he got himself into a good position. It was a good cross from Zinchenko on the left-hand side, plenty of pace. Cabaselli gets him inside that near post and clears it well.
First corner of the match goes the way of Manchester City on the attacking left-hand side. Otamendi company, obvious threats in the penalty area. Gundogan will take it. Riyad Mahrez had come short. Gundogan waves that away. Right arm goes up towards the edge of the 6-yard box, where Cabaselli heads away again.
And it's the one area you'd think Watford should be quite comfortable. You look at the size and the team, they're a massive team. Brutus, Cabaselli, Capu, Decorah, they're very big, and I'd be surprised if Man City get joys from corners and set pieces.
And City coming forward again down the right hand side with Bernardo Silva up against Cleverley, back towards Kyle Walker on the edge of the area, looks to wind up across, dummies in the end, and goes back to Company, who drives from distance, hits Decorah, then Success will bring Watford clear, needs a clever pass here, and once again Isaac Success just not quite picking a teammate out, and it goes out of play for a throw on the far side.
Yeah, but it is a problem, Tom, when you're sat so deep and compact. Like I said, it is so key, that first pass when you turn over possession, that you keep it, or at worst you play into space in behind.
They crossed by Raheem Sterling from the left hand side into the right channel, where Bernardo Silva made a run, but that's overhit from Raheem Sterling. And I think it's fair to say that we've not had a scintillating start at City so far.
I think it's been pretty predictable. You looked at the team, even if Watford had put out their main team, they'd have probably adopted the same tactics. But with the likes of Deulofeu and Troy Deeney's strength up front, you would think that they'd be able to get it in and it would stick a bit better. At the minute, Andre Gray is great with his pace in behind, but anything front up, it isn't his forte.
They haven't come here just to hold on though, Watford. Just haven't been able to see the ball so far. There are attacking players out there, despite being second string.
I think so far they'll be happy, Man City, apart from that David Silva's chance. Haven't really been opened up, and the game plan so far is working.
Company looks into David Silva, back to goal, around the edge of the area. They won it back, Watford, but immediately given away. Kiko Femenia has just knocked it inside, and it's straight to a City man. David Silva has stayed down. There's some shouts to knock the ball out of play, but there's no reason to do that whatsoever. So City don't, and they find Gundogan. Left hand side, Zinchenko on the overlap, level with the penalty area. Back to Gundogan on the edge. Infield quickly to Bernardo Silva. Back to Kyle Walker. Walker goes left to Zinchenko. Zinchenko finds a pass outside to David Silva. David Silva chips one towards Aguero, away by Cabaselli. Not a great ball that time by David Silva, and once again in these opening exchanges, Christian Cabaselli in the way.
Yeah, and I think just Watford by sheer numbers. David Silva and his normal high quality just couldn't find anybody in the box.
Dummy there by David Silva, trying to release Zinchenko on the left channel. Watford once again will smuggle that ball away. This time it's Capoue with the challenge.
Yeah, and I think they do. Him and Decorah, with their physical strength, they do a good job in front of the back four, soaking it up. And at that stage when David Silva was about to cross, there was 8 Watford players in their own box. And at the minute they're showing good discipline, good concentration, and I'm sure the manager will be very happy.
Well, this will be the 3rd game in a row now that City have had to deal with an almost all-out defence. It took a dive from Bernardo Silva to beat West Ham. It took a deflection to beat Bournemouth. And what are we going to get today? An own goal?
Well, for certain they're used to it, Tom. They know most teams are coming and adopting that tactic. And who's to say they're wrong? If you open up against this team, they can hit you. They've got so much pace and goal-scoring threat from all over the pitch. So you've got to give them due respect.
Watford are holding on so far and had half a chance themselves. Reminder, Liverpool haven't played today in the Premier League. There'll be an action tomorrow against Burnley at Anfield, early doors. Chelsea, Wolves and Arsenal, Manchester United. Part of our triple bill on Sunday with our global broadcast partners around the world. Ball is with Otamendi here, of the champions Manchester City. Left to Zinchenko by the corner flag. Back towards Raheem Sterling, just behind him. Faced up by Janmaat. He'll find a return ball to Otamendi. Otamendi with the chip. It's away by Cabaselli into Success, who's once again tried to dribble away with it, and once again has given it away. Into Gundogan from Riyad Mahrez. Ball towards Sterling, was overhit. And again, Steve, with the ball going out of play, City not finding their rhythm.
Yeah, it's just sheer weight of numbers. Watford are playing very narrow and saying to City, if you can go down the outside and cross it, we've got the players in there that can defend it, the physical strength. What they don't want to be doing is letting the likes of Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, David Silva in little pockets, and so far they're doing it very well. And who's to say, if they hang in this game, the longer it goes 0-0, this crowd will get edgy, because they know the importance of this game with Liverpool playing tomorrow, to put themselves 4 points in front and ask the question of Liverpool when it has been City, the chasing team, for so long.
David Silva coming forward now for the league leaders. Prods it left to Raheem Sterling in the area. David Silva now will take a snapshot from the left-hand side. It's well dealt with by Ben Foster. Palmed away, but once again Gray and Success can't hold the ball up there. And City will come again down the right-hand side. Jink in and out from Kyle Walker, brought down by Tom Cleverley, and that's a yellow card for the Watford man.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit harsh. It's good play from Kyle Walker. Pace stands up Tom Cleverley and knows he's got the pace to go down the outside. We're just seeing the early chance. Lovely little reverse pass from Raheem Sterling to David Silva, but you'd expect a keeper of Ben Foster's calibre to make the save, which he did. But I'm surprised the referee gave Tom Cleverley a yellow card. Does that mean any time there's a foul, almost, it's a yellow card? I think it was different to Kyle Walker's in terms of Success was going away, but it's a good opportunity for City to get a delivery in the box.
Yes, right hand side. It's about 5 to 8 yards away from the attacking right corner of the penalty area. Gundogan is over it, as is David Silva. 2 arms go up from David Silva. Gundogan will cross it. Lovely ball in, punched away by Foster as far as Kyle Walker. First time left to Zinchenko. Raheem Sterling on the left wing now. Cuts back infield away from Janmaat. Bernardo Silva made a weaving run and he's just onside. Here he is now, back to Zinchenko. Cross is cleared away by Britos and it falls to Success again. Can he find a teammate this time? Well, he's actually been fouled by Gundogan, but he was once again running into trouble, Isaac Success.
Well, I think Gundogan bailed him out because he had runners. I think it's Decorah making a great run, Andre Gray making a good run, but he cuts inside and Gundogan just takes him out.
Approaching 20 minutes here. 19 currently on the clock. It's Man City 0, Watford 0 on Premier League Live. Draw wouldn't be the worst result for Watford today, and that's seemingly what they're aiming for. They've got the ball in an advanced position now, though, with Kiko Femenia from a high free kick. Decore then dispossessed by David Silva, who can start the counter. Raheem Sterling held up well by Decore and Janmaat. David Silva then looks for Sterling, who wasn't paying much attention. It has broken to Aguero, who once again looks to find Sterling, who wasn't paying any attention to it. I think he's trying to make a decoy run, and people keep trying to pass to him.
Well, I think that's just Sergio Aguero. He's been starved of service so far. He's just tried to force that pass when he should have kept it. But that's all credit to Watford, and I think the two holding midfielders in Kapui and Decore is doing a very good job defensively for Watford.
Here's Vincent Kompany edging forward from the centre-half position. Announced his testimonial this week. Will take place on the 11th of September. 11 years at Manchester City now.
Yeah, massive figure at the club, and just a shame he's had so many injury problems. Fantastic player.
Going to be a crucial player in the run down to this season as well. Of course, Guardiola dismisses our suggestions of it, but they are chasing the quadruple, and it's just coming into view following their Carabao Cup success. Here they are on the left-hand side. Ball is with Raheem Sterling, trying to step over. Got himself into a bit of trouble, but recovered it. Then Vincent Kompany. Left to Gundogan. He'll find Zinchenko on the far side. Down the line to David Silva. Low cross. Straight at Etienne Capoue. Never panics, Etienne Capoue, and really fantastic play there in a tight area between him and Decore. Gets Watford a bit up the field. Outright to Janmaat, then Decore again. They're trying to play their way in triangles up there, but there's no runner, and it's won back by Gundogan. Into Aguero, surely being held back, but that's not stopping him, and he's still going, Sergio Aguero. The referee Tierney says he gave Aguero the advantage. I'm not too sure he did.
No, he didn't. He should have pulled that back. Aguero's showing good strength, but Britis was all over him, and once the advantage didn't happen, he should have brought it back for a free kick.
Zinchenko with a shot from the left-hand side, very nearly turned into a cross for Sergio Aguero. Was there at the back post,
yeah,
but he couldn't turn it in.
He was sniffing around. It was great play from Zinchenko. He's really grown into this left back role. Just drives across to the far post. Sergio Aguero would have been offside, in my opinion, if he'd have been able to get on it. Just makes his run a little bit early. Gets behind Britos, but obviously the cross beats him.
Yeah, may have just taken a deflection off a Watford leg on the way through. And it's going to be a corner to Manchester City. Gundogan is over it. Riyad Mahrez is close by, but Gundogan wants to whip this one in, and does towards the near post. It's won by Otamendi. Otamendi glances the ball across the penalty area when he should have done better.
Yeah, and whoever's picking him up from a Watford point of view isn't doing a good enough job, because that's a free header from Nicholas Otamendi, and he should at least hit the target and make Ben Foster work. It's a lovely delivery from Bernardo Silva, and I think he gets in front of Kamabasa, and he really just doesn't get a right purchase on the header. He knows it himself. Head in hands. Great opportunity from the City centre half.
Crowd unhappy that Ben Foster took about 25 seconds to get that goal kick up the field. Quarter of the game gone. Watford's game plan has worked well so far. Crowd, though, not liking it. Home crowd, that is. From the goal kick, City have won it back. Kyle Walker sweeps things up and goes all the way back to Ederson, who's been essentially a bystander for 2 1/4 games now. One save against West Ham, no shots at all from Bournemouth, and today we still wait the first shot in anger from Watford. Surely he only gets half his wages. Doesn't use his hands, no need.
Well, he could sit in the stand and have a bag of chips. He's been that isolated. But listen, key for City is they've got to be patient. They probably knew what was going to happen. They'd have hoped. They've had 2 good opportunities, really. David Silva should have scored, and that would have changed the complexion of the game.
Good challenge on Raheem Sterling on the far side there from Janman. It's actually come off the City man last, and will be a throw-in to Watford in their right-back area, midway inside their own half. Possession 70-30 in favour of Manchester City. They've had 4 shots, 2 on target, to Watford's none and none in the opening 24 minutes here. But it only takes a moment from Watford, maybe now as success flicks on to Gray. Couldn't control it there, Andre Gray. City have won it back, but the forward pass was sloppy from City. And it's picked up by Daryl Janmat on the right-hand side. Being held up by Sterling, referee says play on. Beating him again, Janmat, after a nice 1-2. Decore then looks right to Kiko Femenia. Kiko into Decore, away from the sliding challenge, back to Capoue. Crossfield left to Success. We'll play this from Watford. Success's pass will find Messina's run. He's up against Kyle Walker, but Walker steps across him, and they'll get that ball away in their own penalty area.
Best move of the match from Watford, worked it from the right hand side out to the left, and Messina had an opportunity just to wrap his foot round it and deliver it first time, but elected to cut inside Kyle Walker.
That's a terrible pass from Britos straight to Bernardo Silva. 1-2 with Sergio Aguero. Silva then down the right hand side is blocked off by Britos, who shakes his head. He knows he nearly cost his team there. It will be a corner though.
Yeah, it was very slack. He rectified his mistake, but
corner taken short. Mahrez into Bernardo Silva, looking for Aguero. It's away as far as Raheem Sterling. Poor volley from him. It will come out to this right hand side, but Mahrez couldn't control it. It's come off a Watford leg last, and will be a City throw. Bernardo Silva takes it quickly. In now to Gundogan. Gundogan left to Otamendi. Now 35-40 yards out. Centre of the pitch, Gundogan. Right to Kyle Walker. Into the feet of Bernardo Silva on the right wing. Chops in field. Back to Walker. Out of his feet. Into Riyad Mahrez in space. Return ball to Bernardo Silva. Across the face of goal. Shouts of handball against Britos. Referee Tierney not impressed by that. Aguero seemed pretty convinced. Steve, on first view?
I don't think so, but I think Decore will be a happy man because he switched off and let Bernardo Silva run into the box down this right hand side and get across, which caused the initial danger.
Gundogan trying to start a secondary attack, but that's been blocked off, and they can break here. Watford. The Success finds Gray. Gray's held it up well. He's got passes out right. 2 players to aim for, and he found Raheem Sterling of Manchester City. And the home side are back on the ball. Waste there from Watford. The trap so nearly working. It's out left to Raheem Sterling, running at Janmat. Drops the shoulder, edge of the area, running at Cabaselli. Stood up firm, the central defender, and they find a pass out to Tom Cleverley. Bit of space from him, trying to release Success around the back of Kyle Walker, but well read by the England fullback, and City are back on it again.
Yeah, and it's okay when Watford are stuck in the 4-5 formation. They're okay, it's in transition when they give the ball away, and Man City have got space to exploit.
Mahrez to Aguero. Aguero back to Bernardo Silva, who chipped towards Riyad Mahrez. Good defensive work there by Messina. And that's a poor challenge there from Bernardo Silva on Isaac Success, and that's another one that should be a booking for Man City, which they're going to get away with.
And I think, listen, when you set your stall out, it's a difficult one, but it's just seeing the move again.
And it's actually been Aguero.
Yeah,
with
it actually hit Sergio Aguero's hand, but it's a lovely cross from Bernardo Silva, makes a great run. And it's Aguero making a move to the near post, hits his hand, so the right decision all rounds. Watford's goal is still intact. And the B say that, it hasn't been comfortable, but they haven't really been put to the sword as yet, Tom. And Javier Gracia will be delighted. Would have known that he'd have probably taken a bit of stick for his changes, but as we stand, they're all sticking to the game plan well.
A couple of half chances from Man City aside. It's been a fairly quiet opening 29 minutes for Ben Foster in the Watford goal. Score is still 0-0 on Premier League Live. Here's Zinchenko for City over the halfway. Chips from left to right, trying to find Mahrez. Won by Messina. Breaks those to company on the halfway. Forward to Riyad Mahrez again. Turn of pace from Riyad Mahrez. Running at the corner of the area. Finds the overlapping runner. That's Bernardo Silva. His cross is blocked. Second attempt now to Aguero, who heads wide from 6 yards out. Free header from the deadliest marksman in the game, and he's missed it.
Well, the first cross from Bernardo Silva was terrible. His right foot, it comes back, he chops it onto his left foot, and there is the master poacher at the far post alone. Surprising that he's all on his own at the far post. Free header, tries to beat Foster at the near post, but doesn't even hit the target. For me, he's got to head that back where it come from, to the far post. But normally he's so deadly, and his conversion rate's fantastic. And you can see every City fan in this stadium knew when that ball was on Sergio Aguero's head, they knew they'd have put the house on it. But for once, the Argentinian got it all wrong.
Yeah, the bleach blonde bonds of Sergio Aguero missing from close range, and could have been an historic goal as well for Aguero. 96 Premier League goals for Man City at this stadium. One more sees him level Alan Shearer for third most goals at one specific venue. Of course, for Alan Shearer, it was St James's Park. Only Henry at Highbury and Rooney at Old Trafford have better records in any stadia in recent memory. Every week there's one of those about Sergio Aguero. Another record he's broken.
Yeah, he's just, listen, you can forgive him for one. He's been so deadly, and you know, people were speaking about him, maybe Pep getting rid of him maybe a year to 16 months ago. What a mistake that would have been.
No chance now. Oh, Aguero could probably get rid of the blonde highlights if he wants. Looks a little bit half grown out, a bit like Gaza in 96 at the moment. When they went to Moldova after Euro 96. That's what he looks like.
He certainly looks in better shape than Gaza, that's for certain. But no, he's been fantastic, serving to the club. You know, every club around the world would have wanted the services of Sergio Aguero.
And yet, Lionel Scaloni, the manager of Argentina, has not picked him for the most recent Argentina squad. Here's Raheem Sterling, definitely going to be in the next England squad, nearly getting a shot away. It's been blocked in the area. Watford a bit ragged for a second there. It's broken to David Silva on the left of the area, into Gundogan, then Aguero. Shape to shoot, then poke to Mahrez on the right-hand side. Good challenge by Messina. Walker takes over for City, though. Just keeps it on the end line, right-hand side. Cross by Mahrez is blocked by Cleverley, and Success can lead a counter. Has he got the composure this time, Success? No. Here's the answer. Stands on the ball, and it goes out of play.
Yeah, just originally from that, Watford switched off, and it was Jarl Janmaat from right back, tucking round, making a great challenge, and Raheem Sterling, as he was running in free on goal. The two Watford centre-halves have totally gone to sleep. The longer this goes on, I know Man City are used to it and they're made of stern stuff. The longer it goes on, you can hear the crowd getting more and more nervous, especially after that chance from Sergio Aguero missed. They've now had three really good chances.
Gundogan's clip finds David Silva, heads across the penalty area, trying to find Aguero. Picked up by Ben Foster. Easy peasy for a goalkeeper of that quality. Steve, got to ask you about Isaac's success. It's been half an hour we've seen him here, and everything seems to have fallen to him. He's shown willing. He's obviously a very skillful player, quick as well, but seems to be utterly lacking in any sort of composure.
Well, the problem is when you've not played that much and you're on the left-hand side, what you want from your wide players is to get you up the pitch, and if they don't get you up the pitch, can you keep possession? Continually it's fallen to him, like you said, Tom, and he's given it away too cheaply in my opinion, and really put the rest of his team back under pressure. We need better, and I do think that Watford are missing Troy Deeney's strength and hold-up play, and Deulofeu's creativity and pace to get them up the pitch.
Just the 9th start in the Premier League this season for Isaac's success. 15 times he has come off the bench before tonight. Still a young man at 23 years of age, the Nigerian striker.
And maybe that's his forte when the game opens up and it's not so tactical. There's a bit more space to operate in tight areas. He looks a little bit cumbersome.
Here's Aguero in a tight area, controlled on the chest. Gets the shot away, Sergio Aguero, but he finds himself offside.
Yeah, maybe went a touch too early. It's a lovely little dink pass from Gundogan, and it's very, very tight. Might just be an arm on the diagonal. Little dink pass from Gundogan. He takes it on his chest, cuts in on his right foot, drives the shot. Foster, to be fair, saves it with his feet, but the referee gives offside, and Watford survive.
Ben Foster again will take about 25 minutes to get this ball back underway. as is surely the tactic for Watford. Just get through each phase of play, each 10-minute spell, and they've done it very well so far. Gundogan carries City forward, allowed to come all the way to the centre circle before looking right and finding Riyad Mahrez down the line to Walker. Too heavy though for the England fullback, and the veteran Miguel Britos can step across and shield the ball out of play.
Yeah, and just running out of ideas a little bit, Man City. Just seeing the chance for Aguero again. It's a lovely left foot cross from Bernardo Silva. Low, flat, plenty of pace. Picked Sergio Aguero out with aplomb. He even had David Silva behind him, but you would expect that when he got his head on it, that was a goal. It normally is.
Not this time from Sergio Aguero. Plenty of time to go though for the marksman who scored 10 in 6 against Watford, including 2 hat-tricks against them. Having a rare off day against the men in yellow so far. Throw into Cleverly from Messina. Challenge on Messina. Means another throw for him to take. Javi Gracia on the edge of his technical area to the right of Pep Guardiola. Black Parker alongside Pep Guardiola, who must have shares in the colour grey. His wardrobe must look like Mr. Bean's. The same outfit over and over again.
I'm not having that cardigan for I'm sure it's very expensive, but it looks like something from Millets. Not that there's anything wrong with Millets, but surely he could wear something better than that there. If not a City jacket.
There'll be listeners around the world googling Millets now. I'm not going to explain it to them. That's your business if you want to know. Final 10 minutes of this first half here for City to try and break down Watford's resistance, and they're in the final third again with the ball at feet and 11 players in front of them. Can they pick a hole? Gundogan tries to find Zinchenko, looped off a Watford leg and into the arms of Ben Foster, who once again is in no hurry to get Watford up the field.
And you can see the frustration all around the ground. The fans are ready, even though it's only 36 minutes. They're booing for time wasting. They are keen to get that first goal. They know they've let chances go, really 3 very good chances, and normally 9 times out of 10 City take these chances, and it's a totally different game. They're in comfort zone, but as we stand, Watford are just sticking to the game plan, and you can hear it in the crowd. They're frustrated.
A little period of possession here for Watford, which sees Andre Gray control on the chest, and he's done really well to find a release out left to Success. Success running towards the penalty area, in towards Tom Cleverly, who's gone down. He wants a penalty. He's spinning, but it's not been given by the referee.
Yeah, and it's a lovely little ball into Tom Cleverly, and I think it's Otamendi that makes a tackle. I think it is a good challenge, but if Tom Cleverly just overs that ball, Andre Gray's free into the box. Could have took a touch and had a shot. Whether he shouted to Tom to leave it, I don't know.
Well, if he's not fouled there, Cleverly, that's a real mistake, jumping on the ground the way that he may well have done. We're going to get a replay now on our monitors. Of course, no video assistant technology in the Premier League, and we're watching that now on the replay. And that's a clumsy one from Otamendi to try and win it. Cleverly's got there first. Otamendi is then tripped Cleverly before winning the ball.
Well, as we know,
that's probably a penalty.
Well, as we know, probably outside the box, he gives a free kick.
Crossed by David Silva outside the box for City. Messina deals with it inside and knocks it out for a corner.
Yeah, but that earlier one, I think outside the box he gives a free kick. Otamendi does win the ball, but he comes through the back of him.
Steve.
It's probably a challenge you don't get away from home, and certainly you don't get at Man City.
It's more of a penalty than what Bernardo Silva got against West Ham a couple of weeks ago. Maybe something that video assistant technology will prevent from happening. Watford can feel aggrieved here if City score. Gundogan's ball in, away by Success, well positioned. Breaks to Zinchenko, chip towards Sterling, straight through to Foster, who actually wants to get on with this quickly for the first time. But Andre Gray hadn't made the run, and it bounces through to Ederson. That's why he holds it for 5 minutes.
Well, I think it was the right idea, but Andre Gray just stopped.
City have blasted the ball straight back to Ben Foster.
Yeah.
Not seen that too often.
I don't know what the thought process was there. Ederson just instead of bringing out the 7-iron, hit a driver 300 yards. So yeah, it's just not going for City at the minute, and the longer this goes on, you know, I would imagine Pep, if it gets 0-0 at half time, will be preaching patience, but move the ball a bit quicker. They haven't moved it quick enough for me from one side to the other and created enough overlaps down the sides, and I think that's where they're going to get the joy. It certainly has done this first half. Cross from Bernardo Silva, good cross from Zinchenko. Anytime they go through the middle, Watford are able to snuff it out.
Otamendi coming infield, looks left, and referee Paul Tierney's in his way and swaps his arm in the air to tell the ref to move. Back to Otamendi again, who's running once again towards the referee. He finds David Silva and Gundogan. Back to Otamendi again, who gets in front of Tierney this time. It's left to Zinchenko. Back to Gundogan. Chip towards Aguero, away from the head of Britos. Messina then heads back to him, but Britos overruns it. Mahrez picks it up. It's into Bernardo Silva. Down the line to Aguero. Aguero in the penalty area. Back to Riyad Mahrez. We'll find Kyle Walker. 40 minutes up. City 0, Watford 0. Otamendi, bit of space to run into. Left to Zinchenko. Zinchenko down the channel to Raheem Sterling. It's hit a Watford leg, and well, he thought it was going for a corner. The referee's given a goal kick, and he says, I didn't see it touch a Watford leg, so what do you want me to do? I suppose you can't argue with that, really. They will. But it has hit the leg of Kiko Firmino on the way through. We can see on the replay.
And you see, like, Raheem Sterling just lets it go. He knows it's hit the foot. The only person in the ground probably doesn't know it's hit the foot is the referee. But like you said, Tom, if he can't see it, he can't give it. He's got to be 100% certain. But this has just heightened the frustration in this City crowd.
And then they've got to wait a bit of time for Ben Foster again to get the play back underway.
Yeah, and you can't blame Ben Foster. You know, it's not down to him. They've got to go there with a game plan and slow it down. You can see they're walking to everything. You can see Pep coming out now, shouting at the referee. He wants it quickened up.
Messina and Cleverley combined from the throw. Challenge on Messina will break back to Etienne Capoue in the centre midfield. One of those players that just seems to play at his own pace. Etienne Capoue, a really good reader of the game. Finds the ball out right. Chipped up towards Decore, who's a bit more all action in that midfield. But it is won back by Man City.
I really like Decore. I think he could play certainly in the top 4 teams in the Premier League. He's got that ability, got that energy.
Not a great impact today, though, from Decore, as his team have not really seen the ball too much.
Well, I think a lot of them have done a good job for the team, even though we're criticising success. He's done a good job defensively, as have the 2 wide players. You know, they've all worked hard. They knew they weren't going to have much possession, so they had to do the ugly side of the game. And to be fair to Watford, they certainly have done that side very well so far.
Lob down the line towards David Silva on the left wing. Has kept it on and found the ball back to Raheem Sterling. Gets away from Kiko Firmino. In fact, Kiko stepped across him really well and found a ball to Decore, who's passed down the line towards Janmat, was massively overhit. And City will come again with Gundogan. To his right is Vincent Kompany. Chip towards David Silva, no chance. He's going to get on the end of that one, and Ben Foster jumps up and gathers easily once again.
And I can imagine Pep will be going mad. He'll say, listen, just keep taking it over, keep moving it. Them little dink passes into the box, certainly going to have much joy. And I think both sides need half-time. Watford need it to get there, and I think Man City need to get there to have words from the manager to tie them, to say, listen, patience is key, but they've got to move the ball quicker and certainly got to pass it wide. And this is Otamendi, too many touches for me.
Does find a release to Gundogan though, and then prodded right to Walker. On the overlap is Bernardo Silva up against Messina, who does challenge him. Corner is given, and the home crowd give it an overt cheer, having been denied moments ago an obvious corner. Taken quickly to Mahrez, into Gundogan in space, chipped across behind everyone and away at the back post from Watford. Recovered by Zinchenko of City, into Sergio Aguero, chips again into space and chipped again into the arms of Ben Foster.
Yeah, really surprised. There's a lovely little pass. Watford for the first time switched off defensively, and Gundogan gets him inside the box. He should turn. He elects to dink it to the far post, but for me, should have just turned on his right foot and had a shot.
Foster upfield, trying to find Gray. Couldn't find him in the end. All the way through to Edison. And there will be time for one last attack in this first half from City, where they remain dominant in possession, 70-30, 7 shots on goal, 2 on target. It will be the third half of football in a row. They've not faced a single shot. They haven't really tested Ben Foster a great deal at the other end.
They probably should have done, Tom, with the chances. Certainly Sergio Aguero should have scored. Fact, he got his head on it. Should have got better contact, but the Aguero one, he should have scored as well.
Yeah.
So there has been moments.
Mahrez trying to find a ball through the gap. Dispossessed by Watford. Good defending once again from them. Kiko Femenia upfield to Decore. Looks for the run of Cleverley. No chance he was going to get there, and they go straight back into formation, Watford.
The only thing I'm surprised is Andy Gray. Every time Watford on one side, he should be getting himself on that side, spinning down, because he knows there's no other out ball.
What else is he doing?
You know, he's sitting there. For me, his body language has been very poor today.
Here's Aguero in the area. Great play by Aguero. Gets the shot away too, but it's dealt with by Foster, who palms it wide as we get confirmation of 1 minute added on at the end of this half.
Yeah, and the first time Sergio Aguero's eluded the 2 centre-halves. He's pulled it onto his left side and put the shot, but there's probably a good height for Ben Foster. Needed to be low and hard across the Watford goalkeeper.
Corner City on the left-hand side, which Gundogan will take. Whipped in, away by Success as far as Riyad Mahrez, who gets the shot away, but it's always flying over from the former Leicester man.
Yeah, and I think Ben Foster was just delighted to watch this go past, because he knows as soon as it's on Riyad Mahrez on the half volley, he's got that quality. He strikes it firm and hard and just doesn't get the bend on it to bring it back into the top corner. One thing's for certain, if that was on target, Foster would have had no chance at that velocity.
A lovely connection there from Mahrez.
It certainly was. A lot to ponder from Pep and his staff. Arteta.
Well, there is the half-time whistle, and you can hear the boos that go round the Etihad Stadium, whether they're for the referee Tierney or whether they're for the home team. We'll discuss in a few moments. At the break, it's been a frustrating 45 for the champions. It's 0-0 between them and Watford. Analysis to follow. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League Preview Show with Talk Sport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Southampton struggling down the bottom. We're joined by a survivor of their great escape team in 1999, Francis Bernali. Former Bluebirds defender Danny Gavidan joins us on the Premier League Preview Show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. 1 chance, 1 goal, number 20 for the Egyptian Magicians.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
Go to talksport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click talksport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at talksport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Eriksen just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
Sometimes we work our staff really hard here at Premier League Live, but I've got to say, credit to our production team today. They've somehow found 49 seconds of highlights from that first half. And here they are. Raheem Sterling, 10 yards over the halfway line, left-hand side, looks infield to David Silva, return to Raheem Sterling, over the top. Sterling has tried to lob Ben Foster. He's actually lobbed it behind him, over his own shoulder, as Foster came out and gathers. Release to Gundogan, right to Mahrez. Mahrez ball, lovely too. David Silva should have scored. Header from close range. It just flicks off that newly grown fringe and goes just wide. That's Bernardo Silva. His cross is blocked. Second attempt now to Aguero, who heads wide from 6 yards out. Free header from the deadliest marksman in the game, and he's missed it. Yeah, not too many chances. Couple of golden ones for City. Silva's handball and Aguero's header, but not really a great deal to speak about. Steve Lomas, your former team, Manchester City, not quite finding their rhythm once again.
Well, we're so used to them tearing teams apart, but we've got to give Watford a bit of respect in how they've went about it, and they've obviously, the most times that City missed them chances, certainly with the first one in the early stages, David Silva. I think if they take that, then the game's totally different. And then unexpectedly, Sergio Aguero not taking that great headed chance, it grows more in confidence, and they keep hanging in there. And you could tell by the crowd at half time, you know, they were frustrated. They wanted the game over and done, and they could have enjoyed the second half. Whereas as we speak, you know, it's a nervous time. I think the only people that will be happy is obviously the Liverpool supporters. They'll be delighted to see Watford continue in the same vein.
People will be asking around the world what exactly isn't quite clicking with Manchester City, having seen the last couple of games and now this one. I mean, yeah, the opponents have defended well in those games, but anyone can defend well, and you can't stop City, but teams are.
But it is difficult, Tom, when you've got 4 and 5 sitting so deep. Like, there's no space in behind. There's very little space in the pockets where the likes of Bernardo Silva, David Silva like to operate. The best chances have come from two old-fashioned crosses. You know, great cross from Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side, in swing of his left foot, and, you know, perfectly picked out Sergio Aguero. And, you know, the other one was a great cross from Riyad Mahrez on his left foot, where David Silva made a run from midfield and should have scored. And I think if Man City take them, the game's over, all but a contest. But when, you know, you need that bit of luck when you go to Man City. Yep. You need to play well. We said that Ben Foster would need to have a good game, but he's made 1 or 2 half saves, but nothing of really any notes. And I think that's all credit to his players in front of them.
Frustration then for Manchester City. What about Watford? They haven't mustered a shot on goal, but there have been a couple of moments where, if they'd have worked it better, there's been space for them to exploit.
Yeah, I think the best moment of the game was when they worked it from the right-hand side out to the left, and it was a lovely little ball into Tom Cleverley. I think Otamendi took a risk going for the challenge. He did win the ball, but he did come through the back of Tom Cleverley, and I think outside the box the referee might have given that as a free kick, but he didn't give it. Tom Cleverley also had another lovely little opportunity to over it to Andre Gray, and he would have been clearing in goal. But apart from that, Tom, it's been very much a rear guard action, and I think they're mindful as whenever they break out of their defensive shape, that's what allows City that little bit of space to exploit them. A couple of times Raheem Sterling nearly got in, but you know, they're well worth their 0-0 at the minute. You know, the manager set out a game plan. He's changed a lot of players. Alright, the likes of Success and Firmino haven't really had much of an impact with the ball, but they're certainly doing a great job defensively.
Big day in the Premier League, big results up and down the country, starting with Brighton, who picked up a consecutive victory, beating Crystal Palace by 2-1 at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace, one of the worst teams at home in English football this season. Incredible, really, that they should still be struggling down the bottom despite their resources. 5 points clear of Cardiff they are. Brighton, with their victory, go level on points with their not nearest but certainly biggest rivals. It's a derby of sorts, but it's not a derby, alright? Stop calling it a derby, it's a rivalry. Elsewhere today, Cardiff City, what a victory for them. They beat West Ham, who were absolutely lacklustre today, by 2-0, a result that many teams down the bottom would not have expected. We would not have expected Southampton to win as well. They beat Tottenham Hotspur by 2-1. Incredible victory for Ralph Hasenhüttl's side. Newcastle were 2-0 down against Everton. They beat them by 3-2 with a stunning second half showing. Bournemouth won at Huddersfield 2-0, and Leicester beat Fulham by 3-1. Let's get a bit of reaction to a couple of those scores. I want to hear from Maurizio Pochettino, the manager of Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs losing yet again on the road. It just hasn't been their day for a few trips now. They've lost 3 consecutive away games in the Premier League for just the second time under Pochettino, and their place in the top 4 is very much under threat right now.
I am so disappointed and I'm so worried. In this type of level you cannot compete, and to show these two faces in 45 minutes, you need to keep the momentum. The first half was a fantastic game, and yes, I think we told the players, but you know, sometimes in football happen things like this, and we must be critics with ourselves. I think that was our responsibility to lose the game today, and of course disappointed and tough moment, because we have 3 weeks ahead that we cannot compete, and to put that feeling out is going to be difficult.
Yeah, frustrated with their second half showing there, Maurizio Pochettino. Steve Lomas alongside me for this late game today. A few weeks ago, Tottenham were in the title race. Now they are 10 points behind Manchester City, and they have got United and Arsenal and Chelsea on the charge behind them.
Yeah, obviously after doing so well against Dortmund and going 1-0 up with Harry Kane, you thought it was normal business resumed, but all credit, obviously Southampton fighting for their lives as well, to stage a comeback. You wouldn't have thought that, and like you said, really bizarre. You spoke about Tottenham, like you say, 3 weeks ago, in the mix. Now, you know, they might have to win the Champions League to get in the Champions League next year. So it's really difficult moments for Tottenham and their fans, and you know, you can hear the disappointment in Maurizio Pochettino's voice when he was given that interview.
Yeah, Maurizio Pochettino and Tottenham Hotspur looking behind them now. United and Arsenal, who meet tomorrow in the Premier League. Man United are behind Spurs on goal difference as well, 6 points in there. But if United win 7-0 tomorrow, which they might, you never know with United. In fact, there's no VAR to help them, is there? Right, that's all for tomorrow. Up next, we've got the second half of City against Watford. It's goalless at the break. Stay with us. You're listening to Premier League Live. And those other games tomorrow, I should mention, in the Premier League, we've got full coverage of Liverpool up against Burnley. That's at 12 o'clock UK time. That one gets underway. Burnley slipping back down the table once again. It's been a tough old time for Burnley once again, following their undefeated run. 2 poor performances back-to-back. Chelsea take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. A potential slip up there for Maurizio Sarri's side. Wolverhampton Wanderers aiming to be the best of the rest, and they've been the best of the rest when it comes to beating teams and competing with the teams in the top 6 this season. And then it is the big one tomorrow at Emirates Stadium, Arsenal up against Manchester United. That's all tomorrow. Next up, there will be the second half, so stay with us.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal! It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway. Is the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance, Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Watford from the Etihad Stadium. I'm your host Tom Rennie. Alongside me is the former West Ham and City captain Steve Lomas. This is Premier League Live and we are back underway. Paul Tierney is our referee. He's blown the whistle and here are the 11s as we start this second period. For City, Ederson in goal. At the back, it's Alexander Zinchenko, Nicolas Otamendi, Vincent Kompany and Kyle Walker. Gundogan in the Fernandinho role, who's out injured, with David Silva and Bernardo Silva supporting. Up front, Sergio Aguero, Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez. Muric, Danilo, Laporte, Delph, Sane, Jesus and Foden. The subs bench for Watford. Ben Foster is in goal. Back four is Adam Messina. Christian Kabasele will come back to that as they've got a chance here, City. An early chance. They've scored it, but it does not count. Raheem Sterling has put the ball home, but the offside flag is up against Raheem Sterling. He looks confused by it, and I think Paul Tierney is going to have a word here with the assistant referee to see exactly who is offside.
I think he's flagged for Sergio Aguero, but they're saying Sergio Aguero hasn't went for it, and Raheem Sterling is in. We're just seeing it. He's running inside.
Well, we're seeing the replay, but of course we're not watching this on video assistant referee. And in fact, it's come off the stomach of Aguero into Sterling's path, and so that seems like a good decision. He is offside.
Yeah, he is. I think the initial run from Sergio Aguero and Raheem Sterling, they were both onside, and then it's into Sergio Aguero's chest. He takes as a touch, and then Raheem Sterling then is offside. I don't know what the debate is. I think the linesman's got it 100% right. I think the referee's just confusing the issue here at the minute.
Yeah, he's absolutely right from what we've seen. Unless we're getting the replay again here. Now, of course, once again, there is no VAR, which means we are not reviewing this with a team watching this on video. We're watching it on video, and it's clear it's hit Aguero into Sterling, who is offside, who has then scored. And so,
I think what they're saying is, has Aguero touched it? I don't know whether the referee's seen the touch. It was very fortunate because Janmaat gets back and kicks it off Sterling. He's given a goal. Wow.
That can't be what's just happened.
Horrendous decision.
That is nothing short of a joke. That is absolutely, in microcosm, why we need VAR in English football immediately. It's come off Aguero. Sterling is offside. What on earth is the debate that's just happened there?
The only thing I can think is that he doesn't think Sergio Aguero's touched it. The initial run, both Sergio Aguero and Sterling are onside, but as soon as Aguero takes the first touch, Raheem Sterling's a mile offside. I don't know what the argument here is about. It's just the linesman initial thought was right. He's waved offside. I just don't know. The referees went over and he's totally confused the issue here, because it's quite simple. There's a through ball. Aguero is onside, but as soon as he touches it, Raheem Sterling's offside.
And now the Watford defender has put the ball against Raheem Sterling before it's gone in, but the ball is intentionally put towards Sterling. Essentially, it's a pass to Sterling, so the fact the defender touches it first doesn't matter, because the ball was to Sterling as he went towards it. He ran towards the ball to try and hit it. That's why the defender puts the tackle in. There's no argument for me.
There is no argument. The referee's just had an absolute shocker. I think if he had just left it to his assistant, it would have been job done, but the only thing I can think of, Tom, is that he doesn't think Sergio Aguero's took a touch. And it's maybe come off a defender. It's just, it's a bizarre. It's just really poor at this level. It just can't happen. And you're right, VAR. The more and more you see things like this here, it's a total injustice to Watford.
Well, maybe it's because Janmaat has touched it against Sterling, but Aguero's touch into Sterling means Sterling is offside there and then. Either way, the referee has given it. The assistant has been overruled, and Manchester City, having won against West Ham through a dive and won against Bournemouth because of a deflection, now lead because of a poor decision. It might be turning their way, Steve. I don't know about you.
Well, they're certainly getting the rub of the green. And what Watford have got to do is not let that deflate them. They've got to stick in there.
Well, they're coming forward again here, City, with David Silva in the area. Poke right to Mahrez, cuts it back for Sterling. It's now 2-0 to Manchester City, and that surely is game over inside just a few second half minutes. With massive support from the officials, City are going 4 points clear.
Well, I was just about to say Watford can't afford to feel sorry for themselves, and there's no disputing this goal. It's well worked from City, and Raheem Sterling is onside. It's a lovely cut back, I think, from Walker. City work it well down the right hand side. It slid across, and Raheem Sterling has the easiest task of tapping it in from literally a yard. I think it's good work from David Silva. He just slides it. It's actually Riyad Mahrez, and he cuts it back to Raheem Sterling. No doubting in that goal, but obviously still reeling from the first goal that Man City have scored. An absolute injustice, and I think the referee has certainly played a part, but I did say Watford have not to feel sorry for themselves. This game's definitely well and truly over now.
Raheem Sterling scoring again in controversial circumstances maybe, but showing once again why he is becoming one of the most feared and revered players in English football right now. Raheem Sterling with a lovely tap in after a really lovely sweeping move against this depleted and now defeated Watford team. A brace for Raheem Sterling, and that puts him across this season, impressive season it has been for him in the Premier League, to 14 goals. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, his game's come on abundance in the last 13-14 months. Superb. He's now probably one of the main men alongside Sergio Aguero. You wouldn't have said that 18 months ago. But all credit to Raheem Sterling. Bit fortuitous on the first goal, certainly offside, and very fortuitous with Janmaat's deflection onto his shin. But the second one, he's now getting into positions between the posts, and he got an easy tap in after great work from David Silva and Raheem Mahrez. But really, you really feel sorry for Watford. Watford. They put a lot into that first half, and for it to be basically taken out of their hands by a really poor decision from the official is hard to take. And what they don't want now is it to be 5 or 6, but it's really hard to take when that happens.
Plenty of football still to be played here. 52 minutes on the clock. It's Manchester City 2, Watford 0.
And you can feel the weight lifted off around the ground. The fans are now singing. They were very frustrated, and that was credit to Watford in how they set up and what the manager asked them to do.
Steve, I don't want to disrespect Man City here or anything, but I can't help but feel a sense of absolute injustice in this game. I can't stop shaking my head that has been allowed to happen, and this is why I don't think fans want to win games like that.
No,
they don't want to score decisive goals like that.
I don't think they're really bothered, Tom, to be honest, but what you have to say, it's not Man City's fault. It's just purely a really poor official decision.
And they're going again for a Sterling hat-trick here. Control of the chest, but he is given offside. Mahrez has missed the rebound. Not sure if the referee's going to overturn this offside, but ball's not gone in, so maybe not.
That's another little great run from Raheem Sterling from left-hand side into out, and he's actually onside.
He's onside.
He's onside this time, but
I can't bear it.
He actually should have flicked that on and took it first time with his head over Ben Foster, but the assistant. It was a tight one, but he certainly looked like he was onside when the pass was made.
But I'll tell you what, for the assistant referee on that far side, he's made a brilliant call for the offside a minute ago, but now think about his confidence. The referee's walked over and overruled him, and so now everything he does is going to be questioned for the rest of this half.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think. The only thing I can think is the referee was asking him, did the initial ball come through to Sergio Aguero? Did he take a touch? He must have thought not, the referee, because certainly the linesman flagged for offside. It was the correct decision, and like you said, the referee totally overruled him, undermined him, and got it totally wrong.
If Man City win the league this year by 2 points, they just picked him up here. That's how close it could be in the end. And again, that's why VAR is coming in, and despite the Luddites' objections, we need it.
Well, when you see decisions like this here, and Man City might have went on to win this game, but who knows? Certainly after the confidence that Watford had after the first half, it's totally been taken out of their hands by the referee. And I'd imagine he's probably getting word from the fourth official, who's probably seen it by now and thought, you can see, we're just looking at a picture here, Grazia, just looking at the decision, and they've obviously got the iPad out, and there's a shake of the head, and he's speaking to the fourth official, saying it's the most basic error. Sometimes these offsides, you can give the officials a bit of benefit because it's so tight, but this was a no-brainer.
Yeah. And you are allowed the technology on the touchline now. It didn't used to be allowed, the phones and the iPads and all that technology. It was banned until the start of last season, I believe it came in, that you were allowed to watch it. And so the managers, the staff, they've all seen the replays at this point. And the fourth official down there, I can absolutely guarantee Chris Kavanagh is getting an earful from Javi Grazia and the Watford staff.
Well, I think he's been really composed, the Watford manager. He just shook his head. He hasn't even bothered to go and speak to him. It can't be changed, but I'd imagine this will certainly dominate post-match proceedings. And like you said, Tom, Man City, a great team, and they're on a fantastic run, but they're certainly getting the rub of the green at the minute.
Coming forward again here, City. Chip out right towards Kyle Walker, won by Messina. Into Gundogan from the clearance. Kyle Walker on the overlap right-hand side. Gets the cross in, intercepted by Britos, away by Cleverly, recovered by Riyad Mahrez. Success with a good challenge on him. Back towards Messina, who chips it upfield. Intercepted by David Silva, into Gundogan. Back to David Silva.
And you can see the freedom now that Man City are playing with. It's free-flowing. That goal has certainly given the lift that they needed. They looked a little bit laboured. Looked certainly frustrated in the first half.
There's Raheem Sterling on a hat-trick here. Usually, when they're on a hat-trick, they often get taken off, don't they, in these games? Hopefully Sterling won't, from his perspective. Down the line now to Aguero, left channel. He is given offside, and every single one of them is going to be questioned now, and you can see why. Seeing a few people getting in touch on @TalkSport Live debating whether it was or wasn't offside. They're talking about whether you're not interfering with play, whether you're not in that phase of play. But look, Aguero, it comes off his stomach and it's into Sterling's path. I mean, he is interfering with play by definition because he's there.
Well, the initial pass, both runs from Sterling and Aguero were good, but as soon as Aguero takes a touch, and it's a forward pass as well, Sterling's ahead of him, so it's offside. It's a no-brainer. It's the most basic offside. Easy decision to give. And, the referees made, sorry to say, I'm not really trying to pick him out, but he's had an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, what else can you do? What else can you say apart from the referee's got that wrong and he's cost us what could have been a really interesting second half as the ball is chipped towards Sergio Aguero from Bernardo Silva. Can't control it, Aguero, and it's a goal kick. And if you're Liverpool now, first of all, you've had a team essentially play their second string, which is going to be annoying because Burnley are going to be playing their absolute strongest 11 at Anfield tomorrow. And then you've got the officials giving City goals. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, but they'll certainly feel hard done by, won't they, Liverpool? And Liverpool fans listening around the world.
It's true, whenever you're flying you seem to get this luck, and then the reverse is whenever you're really struggling, the things go against you. So yeah, I would imagine at the minute Liverpool are feeling a little bit hard done by in this title race.
City have the ball in Watford territory. Zinchenko into Sterling. He'll find Aguero. Back to Raheem Sterling. Zinchenko behind him will find a pass to Otamendi. Short to David Silva. Silva has a run of Sterling to find, and he does find him in the area. Raheem Sterling for a hat-trick here! And the hat-trick is gobbled up by Raheem Sterling. What a player this young man is. He cuts inside, evades the challenge, chips the goalkeeper, and approaching the hour, City, if they hadn't already, have wrapped up all 3 points with 3 goals from Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, great from the City youngster. Yama gets caught, Sterling runs in behind, checks onto his right foot, and I think it's a slight deflection that takes it over Ben Foster. It's a lovely little pass, I think, from David Silva. Jan-Mat just gets caught ball watching. He is onside, we're looking at it again. Perfectly timed run, cuts across. Jan-Mat, who knows he then can't make the challenge. I think he might just get a little bit of a deflection of Kambiasa. No, he digs it. It's a lovely finish, lovely assured from Raheem Sterling.
It's just a beautiful chip on the replay. We thought on first viewing it may have been deflected off the goalkeeper or somebody, but it's just such a lovely assured finish from Raheem Sterling.
And I think that's the thing that he's improved, his end product, Tom.
Absolutely.
Shot selection, cross selection. First the run was brilliant, he showed the feet, and then he spun in behind Dal Janmaat. When he got in behind him, he then takes the ball across the defender so he can't make the challenge, and then he stands Ben Foster up and just dinks it, and surely he's got to be learning off the master Sergio Aguero, seeing that calmness personified when he gets into these positions. And for me, he's certainly high standards that Sergio Aguero is. For me, he's been Man City's main man this year.
Well, Watford will feel hard done by, and that's fair enough, but you can't help but love Raheem Sterling and the way he's developed in the last 2 or 3 years under Pep Guardiola, what he's delivering right now, the level and consistency of what he is delivering.
Well, I actually seen him, Tom, when I think he was actually 14 playing for England schoolboys, and he came on for 20 minutes in a cameo role, and he was simply sensational. And I thought then, well, this boy's going to be a player, playing 2 years up. And he used to get a lot of stick because he was inconsistent, but he was still a young man. And there's no doubt Pep has certainly improved him, but I think there was always going to be a natural progression in this young man, and I think it's the demands that the manager puts on him not to be comfortable and settle, always looking to improve, and he certainly answered the manager's call.
Still just 24 years of age, Raheem Sterling. We've listened to Gareth Southgate this week. He was speaking on TalkSport earlier in the week, and he's talking about trying to fit in Raheem Sterling, Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane, Dele Alli into the same team with the World Cup approaching. Well, the European Championship, then another World Cup in that cycle in the next 4 years. It's It's a frightening prospect, really, the talent that England actually have at the moment.
Yeah, they've certainly got a lot of pace, you know, different types of players. You know, Dele Alli likes to run from deep, he's got an eye for goal. Obviously, Harry Kane's, you know, whatever happens to him, he gets injured, he comes back, he scores. Raheem Sterling onto a new level. Marcus Rashford now really cementing his place as the main striker at Old Trafford, which is no mean feat when the likes of Lukaku is there. So yeah, obviously England have got a lot of attacking players.
Going to see some changes now from Manchester City with the game long since won. The actual match itself in front of us is almost irrelevant now because City aren't really that interested in going forward. Watford don't really want the ball. If this was boxing, someone would have thrown the towel in.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it isn't Raheem Sterling coming off for Sané. He's going to come on, let him take the applause, he deserves it. But it's hard not to feel sorry for Watford. And like I said, they put up a fight very well, and then for it to be cruelly, you know, with it being the first goal, if it had been the second or third, it wouldn't have been much, you know, you'd have been upset with the decision. But when it's the first, and so quickly after half time, and maybe that's the one criticism of Watford, they didn't come out concentrated, you know, and it was a good run from Aguero and Sterling initially, but obviously the touch by Aguero makes Raheem Sterling offside, and then the bit of luck where Janmaat gets back, bit of fortune for City again the second time round, is Janmaat kicks it against Sterling's shin and it goes in the goal.
Lovely football here from David Silva and Raheem Sterling, trying to break down Watford's weary defence, but Capoue has stepped across and got them back on it. It's cleared upfield, but there is a late challenge there on Capoue, and there will be a free kick to Watford in their own half, and that does give Man City the chance to withdraw. The man who scored a hat-trick in this second half, Raheem Sterling. A round of applause richly deserved from Raheem Sterling, and Leroy Sané is on to replace him.
And this is how Pep would have really seen it. Hasn't it been as easy as the scoreline suggested? You know, Watford were very diligent first half, and there was a frustration around the ground, but now at 3-0 you could see the likes of maybe even Sergio Aguero getting a bit of a rest, Jesus maybe coming on, and maybe the likes of David Silva, another key player, getting a rest. And it's all so easy, but it has far been from it. You know, certainly the first half Watford really put up a fight. Alright, it was a defensive rear guard.
Looks like Watford will make a change here, and I can't quite understand why, with the game gone and the players being rested for the Cup quarter-final next week. But looks like Gerard Deulofeu and Troy Deeney are going to get 25 minutes.
Well, I'm with you, Tom. This is totally bizarre. This is as bad a decision for me as the referee has made for Man City's first goal. I think if you're resting him, you know, if you're still in the game, I just don't really see why you bring them on, you know, and risk. You know, if Troy Deeney or Deulofeu, two of your key players, gets injured now, you know, if I was a Watford fan, I'd be absolutely fuming.
Yeah, doesn't make a great deal of sense to me, but that's the way it is. They are on. Maybe it was pre-planned. 7 players changed from the start from last week. These two both were in the 11. They picked up that victory over Leicester. And Deeney now has headed on to Deulofeu, and they've actually scored. Unbelievable.
What do we know? What do we know?
They might want to rest until next week, but they've scored here.
Why not?
Header by Deeney, turned in by Deulofeu. Maybe play your first team from the start.
Unbelievable. Exactly what I'm saying. Why not play them? They would have wanted to play. I think initially he's offside, but Man City, what they don't do is deal with the aerial threat of Troy Deeney, and I think he bullies Vincent Kompany, heads it down, and it's Zinchenko not covering in from left back, and Deulofeu gets in between him and Otamendi and just taps it in past Edison. Lovely composed finish from Deulofeu, but it begs the question I'm sure that all Watford fans will be asking is, why not start them?
And now we've got a free kick at the other end. Foul on Riyad Mahrez, I think, from Decore. We'll need a replay of that. A little melee of players there, I can't quite see through. It's David Silva that's been brought down by Decore, right on the edge of the penalty area. Maybe a little bit further back, 30 yards away, maybe a little more. Ball's being taken back now by Leroy Sané. Also Gundogan and David Silva over it. Riyad Mahrez walks away. Of course, from next season, a new regulation will come in. You can't have offensive players in the wall. That currently isn't within the rules, and so Bernardo Silva, Sergio Aguero, Otamendi all getting in that wall to make it more difficult for Ben Foster in goal. He's going to be hit by Leroy Sané, hits the wall. I think it's the head of Capoue who's gone down, having been smashed in the face, and that can be a sore one. So we'll get a break.
It looks like he might have just took it. He did well, he stood up big and strong. It's a hell of a strike, and he actually gets on the back of the head, which sometimes can really scramble the brain.
Yeah, it's kind of hit him on the side of the head, Capoue, as he jumped up to block it. And of course we do have those regulations these days, which mean that any head injury is treated seriously for concussion. That's absolutely right, but it does give us plenty of breaks in play for these sort of situations that maybe we'll have just kind of got on with before. No problem with that on my end, that's for sure. That does give me a moment to just remind you of some of the results from today. What a day in the Premier League it has been. Brighton beating Crystal Palace by 2-1. Cardiff 2-0 victors over an atrocious West Ham side today. Huge win for them. There'll be teams up and down the country furious with Manuel Pellegrini's side, that is for sure. Huddersfield 0, Bournemouth 2. Leicester 3-1 victors over Fulham. Brendan Rodgers' first win in charge of the Foxes. Newcastle came from behind to beat Everton 3-2, and the big result of the day, Southampton 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Well, I've got a theory. What I think, I'm just looking at the officials talking to different players. I think they think that whenever Aguero touches it, that Yamat is playing Sterling onside, because they're saying he's actually intimating, I think it was to Brutus, that, you know, Yamat kicks it against him, but it's the initial touch.
Right,
no, it's not. It's the initial touch. He's offside on the initial touch from Aguero. You know, end the story. He should be pulled up for it, and you know, I just think when he sees it, it's just, for me, it's a mistake.
When he sees it, he should get docked a couple of weeks' wages and be doing a Sunday League game next week, Paul Tierney. So bad is that decision. Well, back underway here. Capoue is all right and back on, having had all the precautionary checks. Zinchenko's been crowded out by Deulofeu and Capoue. Just wonder what Watford's first team could have done in this game from the start, as Deulofeu is brought down by Zana on the halfway line.
Well, you can see the impact, you know, already. Deulofeu, he's hungry to get on the ball. He's got that quality that can take it in tight areas and get you up the pitch. And you know, I can understand from the manager if he's going to rest him, but why then bring him on? You know, because I'm sure every Watford fan now at this game or at home watching will be saying, why not start them and see where it goes? Then you can bring him off after 60 minutes.
Oh, Edison being chased down by Troy Deeney here. Edison did find a pass forward to Gundogan, but it wasn't as comfortable as all that for the Man City goalkeeper. As we get to 70 minutes gone here, a bizarre second half sees Man City lead Watford by 3-1. Sterling has scored a hat-trick, the first massively controversial. He was offside, but the referee overruled the assistant. Deulofeu has pulled one back from the bench with his first touch. And now we've got 20 minutes left. Unpredictable Premier League football on the horizon. Mahrez crossing here towards Aguero, blocked away. Recovered once again by Riyad Mahrez on that far side. You'll find Otamendi in the centre circle. Right to Walker. Then to Mahrez. So it's behind Bernardo Silva. It's almost as if the goal from Watford has just shaken City's confidence again, having absolutely bossed the game. Maybe the changing conditions as well. The rain has really started to pour at the Etihad in the last 10 minutes.
Well, it's not the conditions, Tom, it's just a change in personnel. You know, they're able to go long. Troy Deeney makes something out of nothing. He bullies Vincent Kompany. He heads it down, and Deulofeu reacts and anticipates a knockdown, whereas the first half, you can't do that with Andre Gray, because he's more running behind, and you know, the two wide players were really non-existent from the attacking point of view. But I'm with you, Tom. I really don't understand it. For me, you start with them two and take them off after 60 if the game's gone. You know, the game's gone, and then you throw them on, and you end up getting back. It actually causes the manager more questions from his own set of fans, going, well, why bring them on at all? And certainly the next thing, I hope it doesn't happen, but if one of the two were to get injured, it would be absolutely ridiculous decision.
But they have combined to score, and so maybe if they replicate what Newcastle did against Everton, come from behind to get something from the game, it'll all be worthwhile. As Riyad Mahrez runs at Tom cleverly, he's held him up, but cross did come in. Aguero then wins it off Messina on that far side. He's run a throw and he's taken it quickly. Back to Sergio Aguero again. He's away from Cleverley, he's away from Messina, not away from the desperate lunge of Britos. Broken to Riyad Mahrez, chipped towards the edge of the area, and Zinchenko, but it's behind Zinchenko, and it's going to be a throw in on this near side to Watford.
And maybe Javier Gracia, maybe he's been watching a bit of Blackadder, maybe it's all been his cunning plan, Tom. and he was thinking this, dreaming this up last night all along, and maybe we're a bit naive to think that he didn't know what he was doing.
I did wonder where you were going with that. He hadn't budgeted for such refereeing incompetence, maybe. But then Blackadder never really thought that Aldridge would be that incompetent, did he? It's all there. Troy Deeney goes forth and tries to bring Watford forward. He finds Cleverley behind him. It's chipped out right to Deulofeu. Controlled on the chest by Gerard Deulofeu, the Watford goal scorer. Ball in is towards Doucouré, away by Otamendi. Bit of territorial pressure from Watford for the first time. Covered by Capoue, and they're still on.
When you look at Zinchenko, when I spoke to it might be an area that Watford could exploit. Certainly if Deulofeu had been on the pitch, he would have given the young fullback a tougher time than he had, because he basically had the freedom of the pitch. He was more of an attacking threat than he had to do defensively. And it'd be interesting to see if they can get Deulofeu 1v1 and isolate it against the young left back.
There's Jan, chip back to Capoue in his own half. Rain continues to swirl around the Etihad Stadium. Fans uneasy once again with the Hornets back in contention. Keep your tweets coming in, by the way. Anthony has sent to @TalkSport Live on Twitter. Just can't believe this game. First Watford denied a penalty, which would have been awarded to City if it had been the other end, and then they go on to score from what was a clear offside. What champions could we call them if they win the EPL winning games like this? I think that's a fair point, as Deulofeu is surely fouled there by Otamendi. He's got round him on the right hand side and then was blocked off by Zinchenko, but Otamendi clearly pulled back Deulofeu.
Yes, quality play from Deulofeu. Really is a player that's obviously been brought up at Barcelona. He's got super ability, super faith in his own ability, and he just stood Otamendi up there and beat him with ease, so much so that the Man City centre half had to obstruct him and force the foul. But another great opportunity, certainly with the presence, Capoue, Britos, Troy Deeney now. They've got great threats in there.
Deulofeu will take it from the right hand side. It's about 12 yards away from the end line. Deulofeu's fired delivery is away by Otamendi. No one attacking the near post. Recovered by Doucouré. And Watford continue this spell of pressure. Deulofeu up against Leroy Sané. Back to Janmat, who's swirling ball. He's turned forward by Capoue. Trying to find Gray. Breaks to Messina. Watford on it again. Doucouré now on the right hand side.
You can see the lift the two players have given the Watford team, Tom. They know they can get it in to Troy Deeney and he'll hold it up, whereas that wasn't for the point first half. Because any time it went forward it broke down, so no midfielders made
but they've lost
runs.
It up the field, Watford, and City can break as Silva finds Aguero. Challenged by Cabaselli. There's Aguero. Almost got into the penalty area. It's always the chance you take when you attack against Man City. But as they've shown today, if you defend all game, they'll probably beat you anyway. Here's Kyle Walker running forward for City's play from Kyle Walker, getting all the way to the end line, right hand side, cutting the cross right across the 6-yard box, but no one's there to turn it home.
Yeah, really great pace. Kyle Walker threatens to shoot and then just drives, turns the afterburners on down the right hand side, puts a lovely cross in the box, and for once Sergio Aguero was on his heels waiting outside the posts. And I would have thought that Pep might have made a few more changes, but that Watford goal has made him have possibly a rethink for the moment.
Here's a corner to City on the attacking left-hand side. Ball was cleared away at the back post from Walker's cross. Gundogan will take it. Whipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's over. Company away by Capoue. Cleverly then gives it a thump upfield, which is going to be chased down here by Deulofeu and by Gray. Walker will sweep things up with the chest and touch the ball back to Ederson. For a moment there was a bit of a chance on for Watford. Deulofeu then catches Ederson's clearance, so it doesn't go too far. It does go to Leroy Sané though, and they've done well there, City. Won the free kick, they're taking it short and quick, and they're back underway. Left to Riyad Mahrez, over the halfway line now, running a goal. Aguero ahead of him. Here he is now, Aguero. Not a good ball into him, but it's broken to David Silva, and then Sergio Aguero gets the shot away, but it's straight at Foster, and it's frustration for Aguero.
And certainly the game's opened up now, obviously with Watford going with 2 up front and Deulofeu sort of playing in a free role. There's more space for City to exploit, which he did do with David Silva to Aguero. He was from a tight angle on the left hand side and got no purchase really on the shot. Easy save for Foster.
Flick on from Deeney for Watford towards Gray. It's away by Otamendi from the high ball. Breaks to Capoue. Lovely outside of the boot pass out right to Janmaat. Infield to Decore. Right to Janmaat again. Poke forward to Gray. He's held it up, Gray. Back to him again from Decore. Deep cross, trying to find Deeney. It's overhit for him, but it's recovered by Cleverly. Former Manchester United man. I had the chance to boo him too much, Cleverly, as he's not seen much of the ball, the home support, but getting a cheeky boo in now, and it's been given away by Deulofeu, and City can break here with Bernardo Silva, and he's found Riyad Mahrez, and it's back to Bernardo Silva. He's in the area, Bernardo Silva looks to chip the goalkeeper, saved well by Foster, stood up to it, hit him in the face in the end, I think. Breaks back though to David Silva, and then Sané in the area. He tried to shoot, but Bernardo Silva was there for the tap-in. Goes wide.
Just as we spoke, obviously with the game opening up, Watford have more attacking players. There's chances galore for Man City. The first initially from Bernardo Silva. Foster stands up well and it hits him on the head, but then Leroy Sané on his left foot gets his shot all wrong, just cuts across it with a goal at his mercy. Just needed to drive it low and hard across Ben Foster.
Change here for City, and it's one that Steve Lomas predicted would happen, though we did think it might happen a little bit earlier. Sergio Aguero, the 18-goal Premier League man this season, is withdrawn once again. Hasn't actually scored from open play in the league since his hat-trick against Chelsea a few weeks ago. Did score a penalty against West Ham, of course. And he'll be withdrawn for the final minutes of the match.
A couple of half chances, but one great chance on his head when Bernardo Silva put in a fantastic cross to the far post, and you would expect that Sergio Aguero to put that away. Didn't take it, and Jesus now has got 10 minutes to try and add to the tally. I think Pep probably thinks the game's over, but he's still a little bit nervous, and I think if Watford were to get a goal, it certainly would provide an interesting last 10 minutes.
Has been a perennial sub this season, Gabriel Jesus. This is the 16th time he's come off the bench in the Premier League, usually to replace Sergio Aguero. Has not had a wonderful campaign by his standards. 6 goals scored.
I think partly through injury, just hasn't developed as the Man City fans and Pep would have hoped, and really it's very unfortunate he isn't getting enough game time, because Aguero's on such good form and has been relatively injury free this season, something that Sergio Aguero hasn't been for the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Final 10 minutes here. Man City 3, Watford 1 on Premier League Live. Ball is with David Silva over the halfway on the right. Finds the ball down the line to Kyle Walker. Back to Vincent Kompany as City look to take the sting out of this one for the final 10. Watford pressing 5 players forward on Vincent Kompany. Much better from Watford, having been so almost afraid for long spells in this game. Cabaselli's missed his header, but he's been fouled by Jesus, says the referee. As Watford look to make another change for the last few minutes here, and maybe it is a injury issue. Miguel Britos is going to be replaced by Craig Cathcart, another one of the more recognised first team to come on. Might have just been a tough one for the 33-year-old to get to the end of.
Yeah, Bristol's had a bit of mixed bag, some good stuff, some indifferent stuff, but I don't see why you bring Craig Cathcart on.
There's got to be an injury, isn't it? It has to be.
Well,
it has to be, otherwise it makes no sense. But he's their best defender, Craig Cathcart, for me this season, on the quality of his performances. The free kick has been thumped forward here, straight to Edison, who then thumps it straight back towards Jesus. Foster's not quite got back in goal yet from taking the free kick and very nearly got caught out. Gets there though, Ben Foster, and rolls out to Decore.
I didn't see that, but I just wondered, was Ben Foster tying his boot there, because it totally switched off and Edison seen it, and that long clearance nearly developed into something.
Well, he took the free kick, Foster, but I don't know whether he then started admiring it for too long and forgot to run back. Chance here for Watford as Deeney finds Delafeu on the edge of the area, gets away from Otamendi but not away from Zane, who's done well, the German back defending. Janmaat holds him up. He's done well there, Leroy Zane and David Silva and Gundogan and Zinchenko. Lovely football in a close area, and they've now found a way into midfield too, and Jesus turns away from Craig Cathcart. Not a great pass into Bernardo Silva, but he has got it into Jesus, who turns forward, right hand side, into the feet of Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez finds David Silva square, behind him is Zinchenko. On the left hand side, into the feet of David Silva again, and behind him is Vincent Kompany. Ball forward to Gundogan is intercepted by Messina and Capu before Cabaselli clears upfield. It's over the shoulder of Vincent Kompany in grey. Saw the sniff of a chance there, but Kompany had dived in and read it well and got there at the last. And they'll come again, City, with David Silva. Left to Leroy Zane. Corner of the area, left hand side. Back to David Silva again. In towards Gundogan, out of his feet. Gundogan finds Gabriel Jesus round the goalkeeper. Brilliant block. Cabaselli went to ground and got the challenge in before Jesus could turn it home.
It was a great pass initially from Gundogan. Attacked the space and threatened to shoot and just slipped it to Jesus, who was onside. Took a great first touch with his left. Drops Foster to the turf, and Cabaselli comes back just as Jesus is about just to tap it into the goal. Open net. Unbelievable tackle from the Watford defender.
Brilliant recovery challenge by Christian Cabaselli, who's had a good game tonight. In the heart of that Watford defence. And Foster beaten all ends up by a lovely chop turn by Gabriel Jesus. He's looking one way, he's chopping the ball on the outside of the boot. This brilliant technical ability from Gabriel Jesus, who is, we remind you, a backup striker. Corner comes in towards Otamendi, headed wide at the back post.
Another great chance this time. Nicholas Otamendi at the far stick, heads it down, probably under a little bit of pressure from Cathcart and Decore. Probably gives him an out, but like you said, Jesus probably, as soon as he drops Foster to the turf, thinks he's got just an easy tap in, and Cabaselli just comes from nowhere and makes an unbelievable challenge. But I think Man City are just edging the way here to a victory, but for me all the talking points will be that first decision from the referee, and why Watford never started with the likes of Troy Deeney and Delafeu. I know the reasons why, but I really don't know the reasons why he's then brought them on, because you've seen the effect that it has. Watford have been more competitive.
And they've won a free kick in City territory. Chipped towards Messina from Delafeu, breaks it cleverly, turns it forward, intercepted though by Gundogan. And there's a break on here for City late on. Zane over the halfway line, looks to slip in Gabriel Jesus, slightly overhit, and allows Ben Foster to slide in and lob it upfield. Deeney then loses out in the air to Otamendi, and City are back on it again with 4 minutes remaining. We are going to bring you that FA Cup quarter-final next week, 3 of them on Saturday, 12:15 UK time. We've got live coverage of Crystal Palace's game against Watford. We'll also bring you Man City's game against Swansea, and Man United up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Our feature league game is West Ham against Huddersfield.
what West Ham turns up, Tom. That is the question there. Just a mixed bag. Totally expected them to go there for me today, and after the confidence of the results recently, you would have thought they'd have went there and put on a decent performance, but by all accounts it was very poor and laboured.
Yeah, truly awful from West Ham today. Truly magnificent from Newcastle and Southampton, who picked up huge victories. It's really hard to underestimate how important that victory was for Southampton today against Tottenham Hotspur.
Not just that there, you look at it's really hot, not really, it's one really position left for me. Fulham and Huddersfield are down, but it's for one from a load. You would never have thought Cardiff would have probably won 2-0, and Brighton getting another great result, still leaving Crystal Palace, who looked 2 or 3 weeks ago that they were getting out of it, and like you say, Southampton as well, right firmly in it.
Brighton's win today against Crystal Palace, great win though it was, they've really just kept pace with everyone as opposed to moved away, which is incredible really.
You also think, if you win 2 games, I think the key game for them was beating Huddersfield last week. This was an icing on the cake, but it's really hotting up down the bottom.
City searching for a 4th goal here, crossed by Zane, breaks back to Gundogan, who's chipped from distance. He's always going over the top.
Tried to curl into the top corner, open up his body, Gundogan. He's looking down at the pitch, but all eyes on Raheem Sterling. It's not his fault the referee made such a poor decision, but he's making them runs, he's getting into areas that hurt team, and very, very unfortunate for Daryama, who kicks it against him. But the other 2 goals were finished with aplomb, and his movement with and without the ball, for me, has been key for Man City getting the win, because at times it hasn't been really the fluid machine that Man City can be, and he's been the real bright spark, not for the first time this season.
No, a hat-trick from Raheem Sterling, timed at 13 minutes and 12 seconds, the fastest hat-trick in the Premier League since Lukaku scored a treble for Everton against Sunderland back in 2016. That was 11 minutes and 37 seconds. Impressive from Raheem Sterling. Certainly the 3rd goal, as Steve says, a wonderful finish. The first one should go down as referee assist. There's Zinchenko with a minute remaining here on the left-hand side as City's fans treat to a 4-goal second half, start heading towards the exits in the rain here. And they will feel their team is edging ever closer to back-to-back Premier League titles. 4 points clear they'll be tonight, with Liverpool in action tomorrow against Burnley.
Well, what a turnaround, Tom, and like you say, now the questions have been asked of Liverpool playing the game the next day, and Man City have got the job done, albeit as well, how will he respond? And certainly with the referee's decision, they'll think everything's going against them at the moment, but they've just got to do the job in front of them, which is beat Burnley at home.
A change here right to the death. Phil Foden is going to get a pity minute, replacing Riyad Mahrez, who's had a half-decent performance on that far side.
Well, he's shown flashes for me. He's still not really the player that was at Leicester that lit it up for a season when they won the Premier League, but moments, and that's what City have got. They've got players that can come on and make an effect.
Watford looking to make things interesting here down the right-hand side. Gray finds Deulofeu, cross towards the back post. Messina had got forward. Deeney won the second header. They're claiming a penalty here. Watford. It's a trip on Messina maybe in the box. Referee not interested whatsoever. Watford had sent players forward, and City can break at the other end here with Bernardo Silva. Outright to Gabriel Jesus. Foden's made a run. Here he is now. Foden cuts it back, but Jesus hadn't continued his run. Cleared as far as David Silva. Cross towards Leroy Sané at the back post. Here he is now. Far left-hand side. He's brought it down. Can't get away though from Daryl Janmaat. Jinked inside and outside, then ran straight into the Watford full-back.
I don't know what Sané was doing. It was a lovely ball from David Silva. He had Janmaat 1v1. He just waited too long. He needed to get at him, either decide to go down the outside or inside and get a shot. He elected to do none, and the chance was gone.
Final couple of minutes here for Watford to endure. 4 minutes added on. Gundogan left to Jesus. Jesus given offside. There will be a chance for Watford to clear that ball away. Seeing a replay here of the penalty shout. at the other end, and not too sure there's anything in that. Vincent Kompany looks to clear it, misses it. Missed Messina as well, who just took a dive and hoped the referee was feeling sympathetic towards him.
I don't know what that was in aid of, but one thing's for certain, Man City's got the job done. Down to Raheem Sterling and the referee's massive error.
There'll still be people. You'll see them on Twitter, you're going to hear them on radio stations, on TV stations, trying to justify that actually was the right decision tonight. And let me tell you, there's absolutely no scenario where that is the right call from the referee. And City have scored the most crucial goal in the game, the first goal, so often.
Not unless we're seeing something different, Tom, but it just looked at basic. The first run was okay from Aguero and Sterling, but as soon as Aguero takes the touch, Sterling's ahead of him. There's no Watford player behind Sterling, so it's offside for me. But just trying to give the referee a bit of benefit of the doubt. What was he thinking? Yeah. The only thing that I can think that he thinks that Sergio Aguero hasn't touched it. But it was as clear as a bell. We could see it. It wasn't a faint touch. It was a full touch.
A full touch coming here from Deulofeu. Late chance here as Deeney's on a free kick on the edge. Messina's over it too. It's left of centre. 94th minute. We are into. It will be Deulofeu. It's hit the wall. Loops up in the air. And will go for a corner on the far side to Watford, who certainly looked a better side since Deulofeu came on.
Well, him and it's the captain, Vincent Kompany. And you can see Deulofeu thinks that's travelling and would have posed Edison a big question. But yeah, I agree with you, Tom. The difference, the strength and the ability of Deulofeu certainly has made Watford a better proposition in this last 15-20 minutes.
Cleverly's corner was dreadful. And City clear it away, and they've got a break on here where they can really rub salt into the wounds. Foden finds Jesus forward to Bernardo Silva. It's a lovely ball. Absolutely fantastic attempted pass. Foster had read it though before Bernardo Silva could get there.
Yeah, just couldn't. It was just half a yard too far for Bernardo Silva. It was a scintillating break, and it's a lovely little through ball from Jesus. Just slides it, waits for Bernardo Silva to make that forward one, but I think that's the end of the game. Job done for Man City. It wasn't pretty at times, but they needed to get the 3 points. Was more crucial than the performance, helped by the referee.
3 points secured for Manchester City. 4 points clear of Liverpool at the top of the table, thanks to a controversial victory against Watford at the Etihad Stadium. It was Raheem Sterling's hat-trick that won it. Let's get the highlights of the last 90 minutes. Back four is Adam Messina. Christian Cabaselli will come back to that as they've got a chance here, City. An early chance. They've scored it, but it does not count. Raheem Sterling has put the ball home.
Janmaat gets back and kicks it off Sterling. He's given a goal. Wow.
That can't be what's just happened.
Horrendous decision.
That is nothing short of a joke. That is absolutely in microcosm why we need VAR in English football immediately. Well, they're coming forward again here, City, with David Silva in the area. Pope right to Mahrez, cuts it back for Sterling. It's now 2-0 to Manchester City, and that surely is game over. Has a run of Sterling to find, and he does find him in the area. Raheem Sterling for a hat-trick here! And the hat-trick is gobbled up by Raheem Sterling. What a player this young man is. He cuts inside, evades the challenge, chips the goalkeeper. Deeney now has headed on to Deulofeu, and they've actually scored. Unbelievable.
What do we know? What do we know?
They might want to rest them till next week, but they've scored here.
Why not?
Headed by Deeney, turned in by Deulofeu. Maybe play your first team from the start. Yeah, what kind of game would we have got if Watford had played their strongest 11 from the start? What kind of game would we have got if the referee didn't gift the opening goal the way of Man City? We've talked about that to death, really, Steve. I don't want to go through it again. I think we're both absolutely clear it should have been given as offside and wasn't. I think we're pretty clear that VAR would have disallowed the goal as well. But what about the performance of Manchester City? You mentioned it a few times. Job done, professional. Were they at their best today?
No, I don't think they were, Tom, and I think that was all down to the way Watford set up, sitting very deep, a lot of bodies, made it very hard. First goal was always going to be crucial. Man City had chances first half, unlikely missed by Aguero, great chance from David Silva, but the big controversy is, and it's a clear mistake for me, unless I'm getting something massively wrong, that the referees gifted Man City their first goal, and Raheem Sterling should have been caught offside, but they add salt into the wounds. Janmaat gets back and kicks it off his shin for it to go, and so it was almost like a double whammy, and I think as soon as that happened, the job was done and the game was over. Obviously the other thing was that Watford then at 3-0 down bring on Delafeu and Troy Deeney, and they get a goal straight away. And like you said, what a difference they would have made if they'd have played from the start.
Raheem Sterling scoring a hat-trick in 13 second half minutes before being withdrawn. We mentioned it in commentary, what a player he's developing into.
Yeah, we spoke about it 16 months ago. He's inconsistent. People are saying he isn't developed. People giving him stick why he left Liverpool. This last 16 months he's simply been sensational. I think he's matured as a player and a man, and his movement, his consistency levels have definitely gone up in terms of his finishing, his crossing, his movement with the ball and without it, and key for me is his finishing. I think the third goal says everything. The movement, the touch to get it away from the defender, and then to remain cool and lift it over Ben Foster was just superb.
On Sergio Aguero, he did miss one big chance in the first half ahead of him close range. Withdrawn late on for Jesus. Does he look a little bit like he could do with a week away from Man City?
Maybe a bit of a rest, but I think he's not going to. I think a player like him will always get chances. 9 times, the disappointment thing for him is he normally takes that chance with a header, but you see he's still getting into threatening areas, and I think what didn't suit him today was the way Watford set up. They were very compact, and all credit to them, and they must be going down the road thinking what could have been.
Yeah. Tomorrow back with the Premier League, of course. Liverpool against Burnley is the early game tomorrow. That's 12 o'clock UK time. It gets underway. Of course, do check your local listings for when it gets underway for you around the world. Chelsea against Wolves and Arsenal, Manchester United. On Liverpool against Burnley, you'd expect them to win that game, but at the moment, everything is kind of going City's way, and I don't know if I'm Liverpool, I'm watching that thinking, how do we catch this lot? 4 points behind now.
Psychologically, it is, because, not only is it a poor referee decision, but the stroke of fortune after Janmaat getting back and actually kicking it off Raheem Sterling, the shin, and then it lobbing into the goal, you must be thinking so, but from their point of view, in the manager Klopp, he's got to get them together and say, listen, we can only affect what we can affect. We've got to be professional. You'd have to say, if it had been an Arsenal or Man United, you'd really been worried for them. But the way Burnley are at the minute, I can only really see Liverpool running out easy winners.
And finally, final question goes to Arsenal, Manchester United. They face each other tomorrow, 5th against 4th. If the Gunners win, they go above United, and if United win, they close the gap on Tottenham Hotspur. Big race for 4th on now, isn't it?
Yeah, Man United on scintillating form since Ollie's took over, and I can't say how he wouldn't get the job if he takes him into 4th, because 8 weeks ago they were dead and buried, and now they've got a chance to get in the top 4, so fantastic.
Absolutely, chasing Tottenham as well. Steve, thank you very much indeed. Here, City have gone 4 points clear. They've beaten Watford by 3-1. We're back tomorrow. You're listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, makes a shot. What a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful. from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance, Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal. It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
He's put down the dumbbells and has turned up here for the show. Chris Iwelumo is on the preview show. A Premier League winner, Paul Parker, joins us on the Premier League Preview Show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
This is Premier League Live.